The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, can I start by congratulating you on your elevation to the role of Assistant Speaker. Unlike many in the House, I'm not surprised to see you sitting there, and I have high expectations of you in the role because of your great knowledge of standing orders and perhaps your experiences in the past. What is it, the poacher turned gamekeeper knows all the tricks and turns. So I wish you the very best over the next 3 years. And can I at the same time congratulate my colleagues, the Right Honourable David Carter, the Honourable Chester Burrows and my good friend Lindsay Tish on their election to the roles in the Speaker's chair. Mr Speaker, it's a privilege and an honour to be in a government that New Zealanders have given such a strong mandate to govern for the next 3 years. It is nice to be in the House and hear and I guess take part in a democracy in a country where even the opposition does acknowledge such a strong mandate for a government to take its place. And can I at the same time thank the people of the East Coast electorate for having the confidence to re-elect me again with an increased majority. It's a wonderful electorate and I'm very proud and honoured to represent them. This government under the leadership of what I am positive will go down in history of one of New Zealand's greatest Prime Ministers, the Right Honourable John Key, who has made it very clear that he intends this government to work in the interests of all New Zealanders and that as our economy grows following some of the darkest, most difficult economic times that this country has faced, he wants to make sure that we work to share those benefits right across New Zealand. It is indeed a privilege to serve with such a great man. And this government does have a very good track record with New Zealanders. It was something we talked a lot about during the election campaign. We have a record of being very open and transparent. We have a record of saying what we're going to do and then getting on and doing it. And New Zealanders responded to that, and I know throughout my experiences on the campaign people appreciated knowing exactly what the government was going to do and had a great expectation that that would be carried out. And I also want to take the opportunity to welcome the government's partners. It's great to be working again with partners like ACT and United Future and in particular the Māori Party, and for me to have the Honourable Te Ururoa Flavel as a colleague in the cabinet structure. Our electorates cross over and I know that he's highly respected in his home electorate. He's a hard worker and I look forward to an ongoing relationship with him. Can I also extend my congratulations to my cabinet colleagues. We've got some new and exciting talent in our cabinet and they're eager and full of energy, and also in our caucus we welcome 14 new caucus members who are also extremely talented and keen and willing and eager to get on with the job. And of course the role of this government is to lock in the gains that we've worked so hard over the past 6 years to achieve for New Zealanders. Some of the facts that New Zealanders came to understand during the election campaign was that New Zealand has an economy that is one of the fastest growing in the developed world, that our average wages have increased by 2,500 in the past 2 years and that they are forecast to be around 62,000 for an average wage by the year 2018. We made it very clear an extra 83,000 new jobs were created over the last 12 months. And Treasury forecasts around another 150,000 new jobs to be created in our economy. Cost of living increases are low and inflation was just 1.6 in the year to June, well below the average weekly wage increases of 2.7%. And that food prices dipped by 0.8% in the year to September. So, it's a pretty bright future that we are facing in this term of government. And as I say, the Prime Minister is determined that all New Zealanders will benefit from that. Mr. Speaker, getting parents then into work is what this government has decided is the best way to increase their incomes and to improve the lives of their children. And New Zealand's welfare system is extremely generous. We all acknowledge that we do need that safety net to help people through when times get tough. But we always have to be vigilant that we don't trap people into a life of dependency. That way lies limited choices and options for people, and anyone who's had to manage on a benefit for any period of time knows it is extremely difficult and your life can be extremely narrow and focused. And we want for New Zealanders to have plenty of choices and plenty of opportunities to live full and successful lives. So over the last 6 years we've seen major reforms of our welfare system, and I pay tribute to my colleague, the Honourable Paula Bennett, who's done a fantastic job of reforming our welfare system so that it is focused sharply on getting people into work. And we are having success. 1,600 people a week are leaving welfare dependency for work every single week, 1,600 people. We know that we have 30,000 fewer children in benefit-dependent households than we had 2 years ago. So we are making some progress. Benefit numbers are continuing to reduce, and the number of people on welfare for the September quarter is the lowest since 2008. That's when New Zealand entered the economic recession, and sole parents are leading the drop. There are over 10,000 fewer people on welfare now compared to September last year, and more than 70% of that drop are sole parents. So we are focused as a government on providing better public services for New Zealanders, and our welfare reforms are having a significant effect on the lives of many New Zealanders. I want now, Mr. Speaker, to turn to the UNICEF report that was released today. I think no one has mentioned that the title of it is, in fact, The Children of the Recession, which actually acknowledges that this is a study that looks at the effect of children during the great economic recession, which is a time when governments all over the world grappled with a dropping economy, falling employment numbers, and had to make some very difficult decisions. So the report actually shows that New Zealand hasn't done too badly. So the number of children living in hardship from 2008 to 2012 is much the same. So the focus that this government put on protecting those most vulnerable in our communities during those tough economic times has paid off. We haven't seen a significant drop in inequality throughout that time, and we haven't seen a significant increase in the number of children who are living in hardened circumstances. So I think we can take some heart from that, but the Prime Minister has made it very clear that that is simply not good enough. And as the economy grows, he expects that everyone will start to benefit. And so he himself is leading the big piece of work that this government is doing on how do we lift more children out of that hardship, how do we improve their lives and make sure that they have all the opportunities that we want for them to live full and successful lives. And the other thing that is quite interesting when people talk about this report is that they haven't talked today about the youth. And the report actually spends a lot of time looking at young adults in New Zealand. And Mr. Speaker, you will know that we will know on this side of the House that this was a great big focus for us when we first came into government. And we introduced a range of measures to make sure that youth who were at most risk with falling employment, with unemployment rising, we put in place a lot of measures, the youth guarantee, the trades academies, etc., the youth rates, the 90-day trial. And when you look at the league table in here, we have done better than even our neighbours Australia that are quoted as being better than us with the child hardship figures. So, Mr. Speaker, this government has focused on protecting the vulnerable. The report today shows that we have been reasonably successful with that through the recession, and we can look forward now to a big piece of work that makes the lives of all New Zealand children better.
The Honourable Member David Shearer.